it needs to be pretty strong accountability. It needs to be daily, it needs to be weekly, it needs to be quarterly, monthly, all that good stuff, right? But the issue is that accountability is kind of lost in the real estate business. And that's why, one of the reasons why our company is so great and why our agents are able to start producing pretty much immediately when they get their license, is because of just that culture of accountability. Even creating those two groups, those two strong accountability groups within the company right now, that's like at the highest level of accountability within the company. But even somebody who is associated with it within our company that is not a part of those groups, this culture just creates that accountability already. We just know we have to get to business, right? So I want you to write down: strong accountability forces goals to be achieved, okay? Strong accountability forces goals to be achieved. We know these things. However, at times we will not allow ourselves to be held accountable, maybe at any level or at the strongest possible level. But when we do and we really participate in strong accountability, it really makes sure that the goals and the vision you have for yourself become accomplished. So, who needs a force so strong that everything they want to achieve actually gets accomplished, right? We all want that force. That force, or what I'm calling today, that weapon for yourself, is called accountability, right? And so I really want us to understand the value and accountability within your business. And I really just want to quickly be able to break down, what of course are the pros, and then what are the cons. So what are the pros of having strong accountability within your business? And then of course, what are the cons in regards to not having any accountability within your business? I wrote down here, I said the real estate industry is missing accountability, right? The real estate industry is missing accountability. And the reason why we know this, and if anybody has participated in an interview with me, I will always love, or hate to have to bring it up, but I love to bring it up because it is such a strong point. The fact that, because the real estate industry and the companies that people tend to join lack any accountability within their infrastructure, within 6 months, 12 months, people who got their license are out of the business, right? So it creates this exit out of the real estate industry, or a premature exit. When we think about, exiting out of being a real estate agent, I think the typical person is thinking to themselves, well, I like real estate. I love to sell real estate. I like to make a really good amount of money and build a profitable business. I'd also like to own some real estate. Anybody in here want to own a lot of real estate one day, right? And so when we think about like, hey, what's it going to take me to exit the real estate business? Maybe like 50 rental properties, right? 50 rental properties can make it to where I don't got to go to work anymore, right? But I got to go to work until I get to that point. And of course, having rental properties and owning things and investments, they're going to take their own amount of quality time to ensure success with, right? But unfortunately, probably 95% of the people that get into real estate, they're exiting the business prematurely, not because they're so successful, but it's because they're so unsuccessful. Nobody gets in real estate and makes $500,000 a year and like, you know what, I want to go back to my old job where they treated me like shit and I made 50 grand a year, right? And I stayed there for my benefits, right? They get into the business because they really want to be successful. But unfortunately, there's such a lack of accountability within most real estate companies and within the industry as a whole. And it's really made it to where agents who are looking for accountability, right, have to go and outsource accountability. They have to go find a real estate coach, and that coach has to hold them accountable. And those are great things, and we're going to coach great people, and we also associate with, a great coaching company. But at the end of the day, the real estate brokerages or these teams or all of the assortment should be really creating that accountability within their own culture to force that success. Without a doubt, if you have one team or one company and they have a high standard for accountability, and I take the other team or the other company and they have no standards for their company, I guarantee you the production is going to be increasing more consistently and in more of a qualitative state with the group that is being held accountable at a high level, right? And so, I'll skip through this, but real quick, and I'm going to come back to this. You hear me talk about sports a lot. Real estate is a lot like sports. And the reason why I always say it's like sports is because it's production-based. Sales is all about getting points on the board. We got to get the touchdown. We got to score the points. We got to get the home runs. We just got to make it happen, right? And what happens is the greatest sports stars, the people that we know are living or have passed away, legends in sports, they tend to be people that held themselves to such a high standard of accountability. And then it's no wonder, right? You may go, how the hell did that guy do it? But then when he starts talking about what he did every day and how he held himself accountable to the plan that he created, that vision he had as a 5-year-old boy just shooting some hoops, right? It's a no-brainer why they are at that level, right? I tell the story from time to time of Kobe Bryant, and you can find this video on YouTube, and they're battling, they're doing the Olympics, and the Olympics for the NBA is pretty easy, You go play against, Scotland or something. I don't know who they play against, right? But they're going to get their asses whooped, and the NBA players are going to do great. The American players are going to do great. They go to one of Kobe Bryant's teammates on the Olympic team, and they asked him about Kobe, and the guy is sitting there like, Kobe's nuts. Like, we're over here, we're playing like China, we're playing some country, and we're gonna dominate him. Kobe's been in there practicing for like 12 hours. And now he could beat all of us, so he could beat any of those guys. I don't know why he's doing it, right? And there's a reason why I don't even know that guy's name, because that guy couldn't make sense of all the work that guy put into his business, which was basketball, right? But everybody knows who Kobe is, right? People hate on LeBron. LeBron couldn't be LeBron at 8 years old if he didn't have an insane amount of accountability within himself, right? So no matter what the sport is, and the same thing goes for anybody who's a high-profile attorney or a doctor. There's a certain standard that they withheld to. So I went and copied and pasted a couple things that I saw real quick, and I may only just say a couple of them. The first one was Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He was known for his relentless work ethic and his high standards for himself and his teammates. Jordan held himself accountable for his performance by setting challenging goals, practicing rigorously, and constantly seeking feedback from his coaches and his teammates. I remember I said it the other day, Kobe used to tell his coach, tell me every single thing I'm doing wrong in the game. I already know what I'm doing right. I already know what they're rooting for and what they're all applauding. I want to know every mistake that you're seeing so I can start working on those immediately after the game. Because somebody like that, the rest of the guys are going to go home and they're going to go party, or they're going to just go back into the regimen. Somebody like a Kobe, somebody like a Michael, somebody like a Serena or a Tom Brady, like they're going right back to the drawing board, because they know success is going to start immediately for them the faster they work on it, right? And so, he would also push his teammates to hold themselves to the same high standards, leading by example and creating a culture of accountability within his team. Right? Tom Brady, we always talk about Tom, 6-time Super Bowl champion and widely considered one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, behind Brett Favre, of course. Brady holds himself accountable for his performance by maintaining a strict diet, fitness regimen, and constantly studying the game film to improve his understanding of his opponent's strategies. He also leads by example, setting high standards for himself, his teammates, and working tirelessly to achieve his goals. I clearly have multiple for that, but we get the idea. We know what makes those kind of people great, so we have to really identify what's it going to take for us to be held accountable at the highest level. What's it going to take for us to actually stick to that accountability instead of running away from that accountability? Because see, in real estate, it's like your own business. So we're all in business with each other, working in our individual businesses, which is a beautiful thing, but it creates like a lot of issues. And the reason why is because people got their real estate license for 3 things, right? What'd they do? They wanted to be their own boss. They want to create their own schedule, their plan. I'm going to do it my way. I want to reinvent. I'm going to do a square wheel, right? And then third, they want to have this great potential that real estate does provide, which is unlimited income potential, right? And so that unlimited income potential takes this person who's been making 40, 50, 80, 100, whatever that amount is a year, and it allows them to really feel, hey, you know what, if I put all my sweat equity into my own business and I'm making $250,000, $500,000, $1 million plus a year, I can make myself very highly paid versus putting this sweat equity into somebody else's business, right? Putting this sweat equity into somebody else's vision, right? And there's an issue with that. And so we want to fix that by becoming real estate agents, and we want to provide at a high level. We want to go on the great vacations. We want to live in nice houses. We want to be able to give back. We want to be that person in the family everybody can depend on. But the issue is that most real estate agents in the industry, unfortunately, are depending on everybody else, because their accountability set up and what they're doing within their business is just not being held accountable at any level, right? So let's talk about real quick about what strong accountability within your sales business can do. And so I want you to write down strong accountability within my, so for you, I want you to put my sales business. And when you see your on the screen, I want you to replace that for my. So strong accountability within your sales business, ... And we're going to start listing them out. See, the best answers that are monumental to the improvement of where you're going to be going in your business, they're pretty simple. Nothing I'm going to list right here is anything you have never heard before, right? But it may be things that you won't actually take action on or haven't taken action on before, right? And that can be a big issue. And so just because we know it and we know that it's so simple doesn't mean we're masters of it. And what we really need to do is start mastering accountability. You may even want to write down, like, today starts my process of mastering accountability, if you're going to make that commitment. So take a second to write that down. Angie, you may have to check every once in a while to see if somebody asks a question on there. Sometimes we'll answer some questions on there. So strong accountability within your sales business. The first thing I wrote on here, it raises your standards. So write down, it's going to raise my standards. Who in here would like to increase the level of standard that they're living within, right? Whether it's for your personal business, right? I'm sorry, for your personal life, your business, whatever it is. I got to raise my standards. You know, when that guy's talking about Kobe, like, I don't know why the guy practiced for 4 hours. He went to sleep for like an hour, rested, you know, put some cold packs on him for an hour, went back out for 3-4 more hours. Remember the guy was like, he was out there. I've seen the guy dribble without a ball for an hour, right? The guy just has a high standard. He's living in the game. You got to get obsessed about this game. See, if you're not obsessed with real estate, if you're not obsessed with the vehicle that is real estate, you're going to be in a position in which you're battling accountability all the time. But see, when you want to be the greatest, you don't really find accountability. Does it mean that there's not times where you fight a little bit with accountability? Does it mean that you're not human and that there's times where you don't want to be held accountable? But it doesn't take you off track, right? It's not like it puts you in a position where, you know, when you really love the game that you're in, it doesn't make it to where you're so easy to get off course, right? So strong accountability within your sales business is going to raise your standards. How about number 2 on there? It's going to keep you in the business. So it's going to keep me in the business. The worst thing that happens within 6 months of people who get in real estate is they are not being kept in the business for the most part, right? Most brokerages, if your production's not anywhere nice or good, they're not going to call you. Hey, what do we got to do to get that listing today? They don't even know how to get a listing themselves, right? It's like, it's just weird industry that we're in. And so it keeps you in the business. And I don't know about you, but I want to be in this business. This business has provided a lot of great things for my family, and I want it to provide a lot of amazing things for you. And if I can do the things, if Yolanda can do the things that we've done so far, and it's just the beginning, we want to make sure we help you do things that are just as great or greater, right? And a lot of that's going to come with how accountable, that accountability relationship we have between ourselves, right? Strong accountability is going to increase sales production. So it's going to increase my sales production. Everybody in this room wants more sales production. That's more transactions, more buyer deals, more seller deals. I got to get in that alignment with accountability if I want that to take place. Who in here wants a little bit more confidence in themselves and in their business, right? Man, accountability, it creates just such an immense amount of confidence. So write down that it's going to build my confidence. If you want to have that like undeniable confidence when you meet with clients, man, I'm telling you, accountability does that. Because accountability puts you in a situation just to win on a consistent basis. The next thing is it creates a strong mindset, which has something to do with confidence, but man, we just need a strong mindset, and accountability will fix any kind of a negative mindset issue. Because somebody will go, oh man, my mindset's not that good. Expireds want too much for their home. People want too much. Some listings that I have aren't selling. I don't even feel like taking action and getting deals going on because of this stuff, man. But in reality, if they had strong accountability, it'd keep them in the damn game. And if they're in the damn game, they can shoot some points, right? They still have an opportunity to win the game. And sometimes you may take a listing that you shouldn't have taken. And it happens. I was talking to one of the agents in the office recently, actually yesterday, and like, man, it really hit me because the last 4 or 5 listings I took, it just seemed like they were hell, right? Well, what happens is when you're not holding yourself accountable to your regimen, those are the only 4 or 5 shitty deals you get to work with. But if you stay accountable, you get to go find 4 or 5 more deals. And then they'll make you forget the bad deals that you got going on. And while you're working on those great deals and still helping the bad deals, those bad deals can turn into good deals. But sometimes they don't turn into good deals within your time frame, right? That seller wants too much for that house now. They're being too stubborn now, right? But in 30 days, something happens in their lives. And while you were giving great service and while you were finding more clients to find and help navigate through the process, those things took place and they go, okay, we're ready for that other offer again. We're ready for this. So, we got to stay in the game. The next thing is it forces your skill levels to increase. Every salesperson, like somebody who's in sports, like a surgeon who has you don't want that surgeon with that shaky hand, do you? You know what I mean? I don't know if I can do the surgery. You're like, that's my mom's brain, right? We got to make sure that surgeon can do their job. It takes a strong skill set, right? When we're watching the Formula One stuff, Andrew got Yolanda hooked on Formula One now, and so she's what team is she? She's team Red Bull, and he's team Ferrari. I'm team real estate. But what's funny is, has anybody seen the practice that the Formula One guys do with like the machine and like the colors? It's pretty much like when you go to like an arcade and they're like stepping on the lights thing, right? But it's more like with their hands, right? Man, they have to hold themselves accountable to get in front of that damn thing every day to increase that skill of being super quick, having these insanely quick reflexes, right? So being held accountable to certain things in your business, like skill role play, like skill development, things of that nature, it's going to force your skill level to increase on an ongoing basis. The biggest reason why agents don't produce at a high level is because they do not have a high set of skills. They do not know how to present in such a way that gets the seller or the buyer to decide on you versus the competition, right? Anybody in here has their skill level increased since you got here, right? Doesn't that allow you that confidence that you can go get you one a day? But see, if you're not working on that, then you're like, oh, I don't even know if I can get me one a day. And in the beginning of accountability, right, you can be a brand new agent and, you're not getting anything yet, right? Well, try being held accountable to a high degree for like more than 3 months at a time, not 5 minutes at a time, right? Started my diet today, and then, screwed it up tonight. All right, got to restart it, The next thing is it tightens up how you execute specific strategies. It tightens up how you execute specific strategies. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Because it tightens up how you execute specific strategies and or allows you to actually start new sales methods and opportunities, right? I bring this up because who in here has an idea of what they want to do in order to get some more buyers or sellers, but they haven't started it yet? Because you're not holding yourself accountable to it, right? You're like, you know what? I want to take over that neighborhood. I'm going to start calling that neighborhood. I'm going to door knock in that neighborhood. If they're doing an HOA, if they're doing any kind of meeting in that neighborhood, if they're doing whatever it is, I'm in front of everybody there at all times because I want to be the guy or that lady who's selling 10, 15 homes a year in that one neighborhood, right? But what happens is there's no accountability infrastructure in your business, and then you never go to that neighborhood, do you? Right? Oh, I want to get more business from my COI. I go on Facebook, I go on Instagram, I go on TikTok, and they got somebody else's key in front of them that they just bought a home from, right? And they're like, damn, I got to start calling my COI because 1 or 2 of these people a month are buying or selling with somebody else. That may be, is that yours? What happens is that, whether it's COI, whether it's any pillar, hey, who in here started doing some videos since this last Tuesday, right? I've been seeing some videos, right? Sometimes just a little bit of accountability gets you to do that first video. And tell me, who in here, raise their hand if you hated your first video you did, right? I don't know if anybody saw Chris's yesterday, but I'm still spinning from that video. I'm still spinning. I was watching that video. I saw a house from a different level. I'd never even seen it before. I didn't even. But you know what? I don't care if it was great, if it was shitty. I just care that he gets started, right? Because somebody's going to go, hey, that first video, I was spinning. Second video got a little bit better. Third video, I got a little bit better. I understood you with the fourth video, right?
We can get you accessories for your phone to help things look better.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a nice
If it's me,
this looks like crap.
Yeah, if it's me, I'm going to go, can you cut 30 pounds out from my face and my belly, please? That'd be, you got that accessory? She's like, no. We got to go to Miami for that assessment. You know, so what happens is that we have to hold each other accountable to, you know, specific strategies that we want to enact on, right? There's so many different strategies within real estate. But what happens is if you're already doing some of those things, right? For example, if somebody's saying, hey, well, I'm calling my COI, right? But they kind of call them like, you know, once a year, and they only call like 30% of the people in there because they're scared of what everybody else is going to think of them for calling them and being like, hey, I'm in real estate. In reality, if you called 100 people you know and you let them know you just got into real estate or you've been in real estate and you want to help them out, what do you think they're going to tell you? Go screw yourself? You know, they're going to be super positive. But Justin, you've had it to where you didn't call people in your database, right? And then you've had it to where you started calling them, and then not only are they receptive, they literally will just start handing him deals, right? And then we're foolish at times because we're like, you know, there's this weird feeling that we have towards that, right? But if we create accountability with ourselves or with somebody else in the office or somebody else in the business, what happens is we can actually start or we can tighten up how we're doing those things. So instead of calling them every once in a while, hey, you know what? Let me subdivide this group out a little bit. Let me put them in 2-3 different groups. Let me call this one group once a month. Let me call this one group every 60 days, this other group every 90 days. And out of these 200 people, it's going to bring me 20 transactions a year. And I know if I do these things, it's going to give me the 20 deals a year just from this one lead source. But strong accountability will help me be consistent with these things, right? The next thing I put on here, you know, strong accountability forces you to execute your plan at 80+% on a daily basis. I know I put daily business, but it's a daily business. Strong accountability forces you remember, right, me, to execute my plan at an 80% or better level on a daily basis. Right? We know that people that have, like, for example, I wouldn't say like, you know, I'm not talking about any current presidency here, right? But if you have like a leader, somebody who's like leading, you know, your country, right? Do you want to have a leader that when some shit gets shaken up, that person just falls down? You don't even see that person anymore. They're not leading the charge at 80, 90, 100%. They buckle down at 10, 15, 20%. And you're like, damn, we're going to lose this thing, right? Or do we want somebody who's really going to take charge? It doesn't matter if it's a president, it doesn't matter if it's the leader of a company. For you, you're the leader of your own business, right? And so as a leader of your own business, you have to think to yourself, if whatever in my life is going on is allowing me to reduce my the level of how I'm going after things by 50%, 80%, I'm going to have these roller coasters in my business. So accountability creates this certain set of consistent habits. So I'm going to be going, if something hits me to the wayside, it's only going to affect me for 2 minutes. What do I really mean by this? Who in here has had a deal fall through before? Anybody had a deal fall through? What a deal falling through can make, it could allow your entire day, your entire week, your entire month, your entire quarter, or your entire year to just fall through the wayside, right? It really gets in our headspace, right? People that perform at a high level, people with an insane level of success, it may take 5 minutes out of their time. And they got to get right back in the game, right? And so whether it's a deal that's going on, whether it's something in your personal life, whatever it is, you know, you have to make sure that there's some accountability there that creates that structure for yourself so that you're always, working within that 80 to 100% of your capacity, right? Next thing on there, it creates consistency. If you were to hire somebody, who in here would like to make well over $100,000 a year, right? Make sure people want to make well over $100,000. I want to say over like $500,000, but let's just say over $100,000, right? Ask yourself, would my level of consistency so far in my business allow me to really even get paid that much? Or a better question is, would you pay yourself $200,000 a year for your current level of consistency? Right? You'd be like, hey, Luis, I got to talk to you for a second, Right? What happens is if you're thinking to yourself, I wouldn't pay me shit. I wonder why you ain't getting paid shit, right? But isn't that real life? We'll allow ourselves to kind of like fall through, right? But if we were to hire somebody, if people in this room were going to hire somebody for $10 an hour, you would expect so much out of those people for $10 an hour. I know it, right? And you over here, you want to make $1,000 an hour selling real estate, $500 an hour selling real estate, right? But I don't feel good today. I think I'm going to stay home. Netflix. If you can binge Netflix, you can work in real estate. You know, that's the blessing. You don't got to dig a ditch in real estate, right? So it creates a higher standard of time management. Write down strong accountability creates a higher standard of time management within your business. Strong accountability creates a higher standard of time management for yourself. And say, I think there's people probably in our own office here, they probably think, hey, my time management's pretty good. You know, I tend to do this in the morning, I tend to do this in the early afternoon, I do this in the evening. But it's the precision in how you're doing these things that makes the difference. Like those 7:30 role plays. Some people in here participate, some people don't. Oh, I'll start role playing at 7:55. Time management, all right? I'm going to prospect from 8 to 11, but instead of prospecting the entire 8 to 11, I go walk outside for an hour staring at the sun or something. I don't know, whatever you're doing, right? I got to go handle a deal, a transaction that I have going on, right? That's not time management. You should have time in your schedule to stare at the damn sun. You should have time in your schedule already set where you work in current files, where you're getting prepared for listing and buyer appointments, when you're sending properties out, when you're sending emails back and forth, when you're following up with clients, following up with leads and prospects, when you're outbound reaching out to people, strategizing on your business. All these things should be incrementally in your business at set times. And if you don't have a high standard for that, you're just getting too much in and out of it, right? Next thing on there, it forces you to focus. Put a star next to this one, because strong accountability forces you to focus on money-making activities. Please write this down for yourself. I love watching the people that don't write anything down. It forces you to focus on money-making activities, right? See, we get caught up in things. We go, oh, this is a money-making activity. I'm working on a file. That file was executed a week ago, right? Remember, 3 money-making activities in real estate. There's really only 3 that are done from not a passive point, but from an active point, which is I am on the phone or in person talking to people about buying or selling real estate, right? Wherever I'm at, I'm talking to people, I'm asking them real questions about buying and selling real estate to identify who needs my help right now or in the future, right? Or I am in a position where I am with a buyer who is already pre-qualified or has proof of income so that they can buy a home, and we're going to go see 3 or 4 or 5 today, and they are going to pull the trigger on one because they're motivated, and I made sure of that. Or I'm meeting with a fully 100% pre-qualified seller who is in need of finding a powerful agent such as myself. Anything outside of those things, I'm telling you, in most cases, you're wasting time, right? We have to make sure that you have accountability that forces you to focus on money-making activities. The next thing I put on here, it eliminates the ups and downs of sales. See, most people in sales have these ups and downs. Oh, I sold 3 homes in a month. Oh, I didn't sell nothing for 2-3 months. Sold a couple homes, up, back, down, right? It eliminates the ups and downs of sales. It eliminates the ups and downs of sales. The next thing is, when you're held accountable at a high level and it's strong accountability, I'm going to make sure to say accountability about 1 billion times today, it creates an undeniable commitment, right? It creates an undeniable commitment. We need to give off this vibe that if I was to say, hey, Amani, what do you think about so-and-so in the office? That he would say, man, that guy is he just has this like undeniable commitment to making sure he's as successful as possible, right? Like what would people say about you? Do you give off this feeling, right? And this array of undeniable commitment. Accountability forces success. See, success is something I would like to force, right? I would like to help you force it within your own business. Strong accountability forces that success. And the last thing I put on here, it makes your plan or your vision that you have for yourself bulletproof. See, we want to have that bulletproof business plan. We want our vision to be bulletproof. We want to get to where we really feel inside of ourselves we want to be, right? Strong accountability is going to get you there. And so if I go back through here and I look at these things, and if I was going to replace strong accountability within your sales business, or I added in there, well, what does the lack of strong accountability get for you? Well, it clearly lowers your standards. It gives you a greater, it creates a greater opportunity for you to get out of the business if you don't really have good, strong accountability. Instead of increasing your sales production, when you lack strong accountability, you're going to minimize your sales production, which kind of gets you out of the business to begin with, right? Nobody gets out of the business because they're selling too much real estate, right? The next thing is, instead of building confidence, if you're lacking accountability, your confidence starts to diminish, right? Then you start trying to find other ways. Hey, what's another way for me to help people buy or sell? And then it's, what's another business for me to get into because real estate doesn't work? That's kind of the trend that takes place, right? Instead of creating a strong confidence or building a strong mindset or building confidence, it deteriorates your confidence, it deteriorates the mindset, right? Your skill levels, when people aren't held accountable, right? When people, I don't know why I'm not selling any real estate. Well, talk about skill level. Are you working on your skills for 2 hours a day? Remember, the guy who was saying Kobe in the Olympics was doing like 10, 12 hours a day and still playing in a game, right? It's wild. But for a real estate agent or people in sales, we don't want to practice our sales skills. We think it's weird. And most people outside of our office, we talk about sales skills. They don't even know what skills they're supposed to improve on, which is scary and which shows why they sell as few deals as they do, right? And instead of, tightening up what you need to be doing and starting new methods and opportunities, by not being held accountable to those things, they become things that you're always trying to do one day, but you never get to, right? So you never get to really reap the benefits from those new pillars of business or those new strategies that you haven't enacted. And then, instead of with this forces you to execute your plan at 80%, you tend to find that when somebody's not holding themselves accountable, when it comes to December 31st and we're looking at what happened in your business for the year, you find out, I only accomplished like 30% of what I wanted, or 10%, or 50%. And it's because we didn't have the accountability, right? So instead of consistency, it creates the opposite. Instead of having higher standards of time management, we tend to spend our time on things that really have no value to our business when we lack that accountability. And instead of having some thing that is just constantly going up, as far as my business, it's a constant up and down process that we're part of, right? So you guys can kind of get the point. Take those things that you listed and understand that by lacking accountability in my infrastructure of the business, I'm going to be getting the opposites of these things. So, questions to ask yourself when you're really thinking about what this discussion is about today. Write down the question, what is stopping me? What is stopping me from being held accountable at the highest level so that I can reach the highest level? What's stopping me? There's something going on in your mindset, right? And there's people in this room that want to be held accountable. There's people in this room that, they want to make that commitment. They're going to make that commitment. But of course, there's going to be people that are like, I think I just got this shit, better figured out myself, and I don't need that kind of stuff, right? We see those people. They come in and out of real estate, right? What's really stopping me? What's that thing? You need to identify that. This isn't a corny subject. This is something real. This could be something from your childhood. This could be something from playing sports. This could be something from there's so many things that could be the reason in which why somebody does not make the commitment they need to for their business and to themselves, right? There's something going on, and you have to identify what that is. And then when you identify it, now you can work on it, right? So the question to ask yourself is, what's stopping me from making the commitment to being held accountable at the highest level, okay? Any questions right now on accountability? Because I know I literally ran it through pretty much, right? And I could write 100 pages on accountability. Nobody wants to hear about it. Accountability is to most people, is like nails on a chalkboard, right? But for people that are going to be great, it's the greatest sound of all time, right? Because it's what defines them. It's what puts in concrete their destiny, right? And so with this accountability group that we're going to talk to here in a moment, I think what people are going to notice is that the people who actually really want to be within that accountability group and commit to that accountability group, those are going to be the people that over the next 90 days are creating the most momentum. And if, for right now in your business, you can't create that accountability that is going to be as structured as the one that we lay out for those two groups of people within the office, but you still want some accountability to a degree, get with Yolanda or I, and we may make a third group that maybe it's just not as intense as those two other groups, right? But it may be a good start for you, and we're willing to work something out with those people just to create just a real high level, at least a good level of commitment to your business. That's all I have for accountability. If you were going to stay in, if you were here as a guest right now, I go ahead.
Yolanda has something.
Oh, fantastic. How are you doing today?
She's gone.
I just realized you can't even see the screen over here, probably. Can you see the screen at all? Standing 5 foot tall.
Really quick, some of you are getting text messages or emails from either a Sophia, a Christina, or one other person. They are trying to schedule a time to go over all of the systems one-on-one, so it'll be a Zoom call. Make sure you are doing